It's time.
For another special episode.
Hi everybody, let's talk some more about the talkback episodes of Sister Wives Part 2. Hello, my name is Jenny and you have found the channel called Senior Perspective. Today I am going to record the remainder of the episode and then start editing it. If it ends up being quite lengthy, I'll break it up and you'll have 2 more episodes. So we'll see how it goes. Let's get going. So Christine takes the iPad at this point and she reads the next question that a viewer posted. Just so great. And the question was, is anyone watching Ramen Hair with me tonight? I can't believe they gave that to her. And Christine was genuinely confused at first. She paused. She's like, ramen. And she goes, oh, Kody. And then her response was, he just struggles. That made me laugh. But then she went on to say that, he spends too much time on his hair.
Oh, meaning Kody's hair. He just struggles. I get sick and tired of how obsessed about his hair he was. I just felt like it was a fifth wife.
Janelle answers the question that was posed, which was, does anyone think that Kody will have any more wives? Predictably, she says no. She thinks that he found the love of his life and this is it, no more.
I really don't think so. I think he has found some sort of soulmate relationship with Robin, a late in life marriage or mature love after you've both been through the ringer. I don't know what it is, but nah, he'll be a monogamist from now on.
Christine gets a post to read that says, Christine for president, to which she just said, no.
Christine for president? No, don't sign me up for that. Queen? Maybe. You know what? I'd rather Queen, thank you.
And now we move back to Coyote Pass. So we have a flashback there at the picnic table, and Kody is saying, I sit here thinking like it's meaningless to stay in a duty-bound marriage. Mary replies, I don't think it's fair to either of us. We cut to Jen and Mary, and Jen just looks sad when watching this, and Mary goes on to explain.
And the thing is, we had already decided. We had decided at the conversation that we had had prior.
This conversation that they're having is the second time that they've had it. The last time was in private.
I also knew it was an important conversation to have documented, which is something that he kind of fought. So I was very open to guiding this conversation to actually start.
And she insisted that they do it again in public, that he owed that to her.
Because I felt like it deserved accountability.
Good for you.
I do find it interesting that Kody fought the notion of putting this on film. And he admitted to Mary that he didn't want to do it because he gets a lot of backlash. People don't like him already, so he didn't want to do it. So if he knows people don't like him, they didn't always not like him. I actually like Kody at the beginning. I mean, he always had that kind of creepy vibe to him. Like, he's not the kind of person that I'd be attracted to at all, but I thought he was a nice guy, and I thought he was a good father, and I thought he was a good provider. I didn't realize the wives were really the providers, but and I didn't realize that he made all his wives file bankruptcy. They were really living paycheck to paycheck, and sometimes not even that. They were living on credit too. But at any rate, I didn't not like him, and I didn't like him. He was just kind of there. I really watched Sister Wives because I was interested in the Sister Wives. I was sort of fascinated by the notion that this is still a thing and people do it voluntarily. So Kody is now aware that people don't like him. So he knows. I mean, maybe he can't even watch himself on video and be able to analyze his behavior. Maybe he, and I can see that in his mind, he still has a narrative going on justifying every single thing that's coming out of his mouth. It's possible. But to the rest of the world, he looks like a heartless, selfish jerk. So he didn't want to add to that. But the reality is he didn't want to add to it by telling the truth. So I'm very glad that Mary pushed for this. To me, it was her way of sort of taking her power back at the very end of the relationship and saying, if we're going to end it, it's going to be on my terms. And my terms are the cameras will be present and you will say to me that you don't want to be married to me anymore. which he kind of implied, but never really overtly came out and said, even with all of the language and talking that they did at that picnic table. So another flashback at the picnic table is a scene where Kody is rewriting history again and sort of manipulating the story. And he says, the hardest thing is accepting that it's not going to go back to a place that works for what you're looking for. Mary's reply to this in the talking head was, I don't like that he's putting this all on me. And he's also not owning that he just doesn't have an interest in me. He said it to me in private, but he's still not saying it here. Throughout this whole flashback scene in the little box at the bottom is Christine going, she's so animated. Her mouth's agape and her arms are all over the place. Like, what? She's like motioning to the television, then she's motioning to the camera that's recording her, and she's just shocked. Understandably. By this point, we have mulled over this conversation at Coyote Pass at the broken down picnic table so many times that it doesn't carry the same weight and meaning that it did the first time we heard it, and we were in utter shock. So it's kind of interesting and fun and reflective to be able to watch somebody else watching it for the very first time and go, yeah, that's what I was thinking the first time I saw it too. At this point, at the picnic table, Mary says, this doesn't mean that I'm not mad at you for not giving me what we promised each other. And Christine on the couch, after watching this, gave a great response.
Honestly, Kody ended it years ago when he had no interest in keeping a marriage, having a marriage with Mary.
She's telling it like it is.
Was just dragging her for years and years and years. He ended it years ago. She would have kept the marriage going. She would love to stay married to him. But he's the one who really ended it.
Go, Christine.
It wasn't the catfishing thing, wasn't whatever. He's been the one who said over and over, we're just going to get to know each other and then not talk to her for a year. Go out once a year. That's not, no.
Okay, this next part is funny. So this is, again, kind of where we left off in the last video, where Robin had done her walk away. Oh, no, I gotta go. I can't listen to this. It's okay. I gotta go. And she walks away. And then in the talking head, she's explaining, I walked away because I just couldn't handle the direction this was going. So then the video, after she says that, shows her returning from her half circle walk around the cesspool pond. And she's back and she sits down kind of with her back to Mary on the edge of the picnic table. And this is Christine's reaction.
Why is she back? She's back? What is she doing? What is she doing back? Why doesn't she just leave? If this is not about her, why is she so... Okay.
It's just priceless. I was laughing so hard when I saw her. I was like, I know. What's she doing there? Why is she back? So in the talking head in the last episode, Robin said that she returned to the picnic table because maybe she can prevent this from happening, knowing the imminent breakup that was occurring. And she said that maybe she could talk them into not making this decision today. Maybe we can put it off for another decade or two. Jen reads right through her.
Yeah, don't make a decision today because for the last 7 years, things have been peachy keen. I'm sorry, it's selfish.
Jen sees Robin for who she is. Selfish. Janelle adds that this whole situation is not fair to Mary.
It's not fair to not let this come to an end. It's not fair. Why would you want to interfere? I think by trying to stop it and giving support and cheering on for all these years may have created a situation that really went on longer than it should have. That's just my opinion.
So this next section kind of reminded me of me at times. Sometimes I get a little over animated or excited in interpreting what somebody's saying on these shows. And then other people will write down below, I don't think they meant it that way. I think they meant it like this. And then I'll read it and go, huh, that one makes a lot more sense than the way I interpreted it. So here's Christine, I think largely misinterpreting what Robin said. And this is the point in the episode, in the flashback, where Robin returns and she says to Mary, sorry I left. It's really painful, I know. And this is Christine's response.
Really painful, I know.
It's painful on Robin? This is so painful on Robin? What about being painful on Mary?
I do think that Robin meant that she knew it was painful for Mary in that little statement. But it just made me laugh to see Christine's response, because I'm like, oh, that's me many times. A little overreactive, maybe too much wine. I don't know.
I don't know, I feel like we just had a breakup conversation.
I'm glad we've gone this long so we can be friends in the departure.
Were you trying to like lighten the what? No. What were your feelings in this spot?
Do tell.
Because I thought at one point you guys were making freaking bracelets out of weeds. You're both like looking. I didn't know what's going on here. We just had a breakup conversation.
We're not looking at each other. We're not calling each other jackass.
That was like the
We
calmness.
are having a breakup conversation.
Best friends, best friends.
Then we have the line from Kody that I didn't remember, but this is interesting. Kody says to Mary, I'm glad that we've gone this long so that we can be friends in the departure. Actually, now that I read it again, I do remember commenting on that and being frustrated with him. That it had to go this long. We had to go a decade to get to the point that we could be friends when we departed. But I find it interesting because that's the answer that Mary gave. Do you remember earlier on in this talkback? Or maybe it was the last talkback? I can't remember. One of these after this season episodes, somebody said, do you regret staying too long? And she said, no, it was a perfect amount of time because we got to the point where it was amicable and we could just depart as friends. And there's no reason that couldn't have happened years and years ago. But that's the line that Kody said. I didn't realize it until just now. That's why Mary's saying it. Kody feeds things into Mary and she just takes it in. She trusts him. I know I used to always say she's a complete idiot and she doesn't think for herself and she's weak and she's spineless and she's essentially a doormat, as somebody else put. The way I look at it now is just Kody has figured out how to manipulate her. It's almost cult-like in terms of the mind control. He knows that she 100% trusts and believes him, and he has taken advantage of it for years, decades really. So then Robin asks Mary, well, do you even accept that in terms of, we're going to leave as friends now? And Mary does her uncomfortable laugh at a time that's not at all funny.
I'm glad we've gone this long so that we can be friends in the departure.
Are you even accepting that? What else am I supposed to do with it, Robin?
Again, proving my point. Mary still has issues when it comes to her laughter being a response to situations in her life. And as she's laughing, she just says, what else am I supposed to do? Well, any normal person that's being broken up with, and somebody said, I'm glad we're breaking up now, we can still be friends, even though you still love them. We can still be friends. Don't you think that's good? And then you think, well, what else am I supposed to do? There is nothing funny. Nothing at all funny about that. So, yeah, Mary still has work to do. So after Mary asks Robin, well, what else am I supposed to do? Robin says, well, you've been doing a certain thing for a long time. And Jen is just shocked at that.
You've been doing a certain thing for a long time.
I know I have.
Okay.
I'm not gonna force somebody to be with me.
Mary's completely unresponsive. Anything that Robin says, she interprets as a positive thing. She doesn't think Robin is out for her at all. She thinks Robin 100% has her back.
See, she thinks she does, but she actually doesn't.
She is still defending Robin to the bitter end. So I'm just a little curious why Jen was so shocked, though. Jen was not only shocked, but she whispered, "That's so wrong." So was she saying it was so wrong because she's realizing Robin was aware of what's been going on for all these years and she just let it happen?
Maybe.
Or is it so wrong that she was maybe a part of it somehow?
Maybe.
Is it so wrong that she thought she was kind of mocking her? Like, well, you've been doing this for so long, so I guess, yeah, it's not that big a deal that you'll be friends.
Maybe.
Which would be kind of a dig at Mary. That could be it. I don't know, but I would love to be in Jen's head. I want to know what Jen knows, because Jen knows all. Back at the picnic table, Mary says, I am not going to make somebody be with me that doesn't want to be with me. I'm not going to make somebody act how they don't want to act. And this is the famous line from Kody, where he says, oh, the act is easy. Jerk. Asshole. Douchebag.
I'm not gonna make somebody act how they don't want to act.
Yeah, I get that. I do, but...
And that's not fair.
Oh, the
And
act is easy.
And then he repeats it again and says, the act is easy. Shock. So Christine and Jen have the same initial shock reaction that I did originally, because my interpretation, and I think both of their interpretations, is we are talking about the act in a sexual nature. Well, the act is easy. So our minds were all going there.
At least I think so.
Since then, I don't know. He could possibly be implying or referring to the fact of the act of just being a husband, you know, and doing all the husbandry things and the fatherly things. The thing is, it's been like 5 years since he's been that person for anybody. So the act can't be that easy if you haven't done it for years. Which makes me go back and think that maybe he's talking about the act in a sexual way.
I'm getting all confused.
I don't know. Tell me what your interpretation of this is. But my interpretation of Jen and Christine's faces lean more towards where I was originally thinking when I first saw it and was like, did he just say that out loud?
The act is easy.
It's wait, there's more.
Talking about Jen's reaction to this, she's so overwhelmed with shock by this that Mary just starts laughing because she can't believe actually Jen's reaction. I hope in reflection when she looks back at this and she looks back at the episode and Jen's reaction, she will start to put two and two together and say, the shock was because no man should ever speak to you that way. And certainly not your husband. And Mary goes on to say, wait, there's more. Like, this is some great comedy. Oh, wait, the punchline isn't here yet. There's more.
I'm sorry. The act is easy. Okay, but wait, there's
Fine, there's more.
great. The act is obvious.
Is it really that obvious?
Yes.
What's the act? What are you saying?
Just performing my duty.
So Mary said the act was obvious, and then she starts laughing even harder, and then Jen's laughing, which again, for being so funny, makes me think they're talking in a sexual nature. He says the act was easy, and then Mary goes, the act was obvious. I mean, it's a dig at him, right? Yeah, I could tell it was an act. Not so satisfying.
You just need more practice.
And Kody responds to Mary by saying, I was just performing my duty. Okay, I think we are talking about sex here. I don't know. Janelle comments on this scene. So this is what Janelle says.
But look, I was there. He was involved in the relationships. He wasn't just doing duty. He wasn't being, he wasn't changing diapers and doing all those things because it was his duty.
Then what was it?
He was engaged with the family, but now because he's found a different kind of love with Robin, He's like, well, that was just pretend before. I was just faking it. I was just doing my duty. It's just bull.
So Janelle refers to his duty as being a supportive parent and father. Maybe it's both. There could be a double entendre going on here, right? It could really be both. We'll never know unless the viewers are allowed to write in more questions as a follow-up to the follow-up, which TLC would be smart to do an episode like that.
That's a great idea. I'm with that.
They could sell a lot of advertising space. Hey, 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 this is the halfway through the episode point, and the point where you are supposed to hit the like button and the subscribe button and write me a quick comment down below. All three things are free. Jen has some good insights and knowledge right here for us.
You've got love letters and all these things, and like he used to be a different person.
Yeah, he was. You can see that in some of the clips, you know, the old pictures that have been seen in this earlier.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So she's confused by all of this because she said, I know he was in love with you. You have the love letters, which Mary appears to have shared at least the knowledge that they exist, but the implication there is that she's seen them and read them. So we go back to the flashback at the picnic table, and Kody's trying to clarify what he said here about the act, and he goes on to say, and it wasn't an act, it was a performance. It means the exact same thing. It wasn't a bandage. It was a Band-Aid. It wasn't foliage. It was a plant. It wasn't a computer. It was a laptop. Oh, I could go on for days. Okay, it wasn't a performance. It was an act. It wasn't being joyful. It was being happy. I'm sorry, they keep popping to my mind. Okay, we're moving on. So after he says it wasn't an act, it was a performance, he said, I was just doing what I was supposed to do.
And it wasn't an act, it was performance. It was performance. It was doing what I was supposed to. I'm sorry to call it an act.
Nobody wants to be that.
I really feel like TLC is trolling Kody here by replaying this scene because he looks so bad in it that they're like, there is no way we're going to do a flashback, not include this. Even if we don't have many reactions to it, we need to put the scene in there to remind people of what Kody said, the words that literally came out of his mouth.
He's a jerk.
He's a jerk.
Kody was extra callous and arrogant in this scene, and Christine was understandably shocked by it.
I think sometimes he has no clue whatsoever of the hole that he constantly digs for himself. He needs to stop talking.
And back at the picnic table, Mary's laughing at this situation. She laughs, I wrote that she's laughing at the picnic table at Kody's inept attempt to give more explanation by saying the same thing twice by just using a different word.
Not funny.
And then Kody says, I'm sorry to call it an act. Yeah, that's right, Kody. Performance is so much better. I'm so glad you apologized for using the word act, because performance and doing your duty is so much better. So much. Clueless. I love how she says he needs to stop talking. How many times have we said that on this channel, right? He needs to just stop talking. Stop talking. Zip it, Kody. Or shut up, Kody. Now, this is also where Janelle, I'm confused about her interpretation of all of this from Kody, because she starts off by saying, listen.
You know, I wonder if he realizes that there were some of us who were doing the same thing. He's not the only one who had to sort of honor his commitments and just be there because it was what you needed to do.
Kody wasn't the only one who had to honor his commitments. So I interpreted that to mean like, the day he came to my house, I had to put out, whether I wanted to or not, because that was my commitment to him, and he only saw me every 4 days. So, yep, that was my duty.
No, thank you, Nick.
That's how I interpreted it when I first heard it. But then she goes on to say this.
He acts like he's some put upon person who made some sort of sacrifice. I'm sorry, buddy. That's what happens in a marriage. And when the relationships are bad, That's kind of how everybody feels.
So maybe she just means it in terms of being present and helping out, which is not nearly as salacious and fun, but it could be true. I don't know. Tell me what you think. A flashback to a talking head in the last episode had Robin saying, "This is why I fell in love with Kody, because I saw how he loved Mary and his other wives." Jen has a reaction to that.
As a monogamist, gotta tell ya, it's weird that someone would fall in love with somebody because they love their wives. So like hearing her say that as an outsider is just really weird. Sorry.
I can see that. That makes sense.
Back on the flashback talking head, we have Robin saying that Kody is going into these weird dark places because of the relationships and their status, and she believes that what he's saying is not true. He doesn't mean it when he says he never loved his wives. And then we go back to them on the couch, and Robin turns to Kody and asks if it's okay that she said that.
Was it okay that I was disputing you and saying that's not true? What he's saying?
Well,
It wasn't an act. Because I saw you.
She's basically apologizing to him for just speaking the truth. It wasn't a bad thing that she said. But she basically told him, "Oh, I contradicted Drew. Is that okay?" I never know who wears the pants in that household, honestly. I think they take turns and swap it from time to time. I can't figure it out. There are times that Kody acts like he's completely subservient to Robin and does absolutely anything she says. And then there's other times where Robin acts like she's worried about what she can say around Kody. I don't know.
I don't know either.
And now we embark on a crazy conversation between Kody and Robin. I'll put some of it in here. It's way too long. I'll get a copyright strike, but I'll go through and read it all as well. Verbatim, here we go. So Robin starts off with her saying, "I hope that's okay that I kind of contradicted you, Kody." I don't have the exact verbiage written down for that here. And he's like, yeah. And Robin says, "Because I saw you." And Kody interrupts, "Surprise." And he says, "I know. I went on our honeymoon telling you everything Mary loved and what she liked because I was testing myself. There's something wrong there. There was something wrong a long time ago. And you thought it was that I was so attuned and attentive to my wives. And the fact of the matter is that I was reacting to a bad emotional state, and I thought it was love." And Robin said, "See?" I don't think she heard any of that paragraph until she heard the word love at the very end. She goes, "See?" Kody doesn't say anything, so she goes, "See? There's the truth." Cody's confused. He goes, "So I'm just as guilty." And Robin said, "Of?" And Kody says, "Thinking that I was in love and trying to work all that mess out." You were in love, Kody. Okay, we're going on. I just want to read it to you. Robin says, "Okay, so when you say that was just a performance and it was just an act," Kody says, "I was trying to do what the right thing was, Robin." And Robin says, "But you thought it was love." And Kody says, "And I thought it was the right thing." And Robin says, "Right. But you felt and thought that it was love." And Kody looked at her and he went, "Yeah." And Robin said, "Okay." It's another Jedi mind trick. I'm just going to keep saying this until you get to the point that I've beaten you down and you agree. Kody seemed like a very pensive, passive, frightened little boy by the end of this conversation, where he just agreed with her and she's like, uh-huh. In the end, he looked truly very confused. I don't think he knows what he had just agreed to. Shall we go back and try to analyze this? It's so much. We can't do all of it because line by line, it would take us 3 hours to get through just this paragraph, and we have the rest of the episode. So let's just try to figure out what he's saying. Let's go to intent and not bash grammar and language and vocabulary and lexicon and syntax and all that stuff. We're going to let all that slide. We're just going to try to figure out what the heck he's saying. So Robin is saying, I said that I don't believe that you don't love him, and that when you were saying that you didn't mean it because I saw you. And Kody agrees, and he said, I know I went on our honeymoon telling you everything that Mary loved and what she liked because I was testing myself.
I know I went on our honeymoon telling you everything Mary loved and what she liked because I was testing myself.
This is ambiguous stuff. Oh, the ambiguity in this paragraph is off the charts. I mean, we could put a different definition to about 50 different words in here, and it could have 15 different meanings to what he's trying to say that are completely different from each other.
A slight exaggeration, but only slight.
Because of his crazy, ambiguous, sometimes inappropriate language that he puts in there. By inappropriate, I just mean wrong word for the meaning that he's intending. All right, so apparently Kody goes on the honeymoon with Robin, and he's pointing out things in, well, no, it wasn't Hawaii, it was San Diego. So he's pointing out things in San Diego that Mary would like or that Mary would love while they were there. So Robin interprets that as, wow, he really loves his wife. And Kody says that he was testing himself during that time.
Huh? Because I was testing myself, Robin.
So he's implying he already was completely out of love with Mary, but he was trying to test himself to, again, test yourself to find out what? If you're really in love? Maybe? Since that's kind of the topic we're on, that's possible. And then Kody says there was something wrong there, which is funny because his finger's kind of like hanging like this, and it looks like he's pointing to his head. There was something wrong there. Because I remember thinking, yeah, there was, and is. But I think he meant in general, in my relationship, there was something wrong. He didn't say that. There was something wrong there.
There's something wrong there.
Then he goes on to say there was something wrong a long time ago. Again, a long time ago. This could be 100 million years ago. This could have been a whole week ago. What a long time, ambiguous period of time. No parameters. We don't know what that means. There was something wrong a long time ago. And then Kody says, and you thought that it was, and then he starts to say the sentence again, punching the word you. You thought it was that I was attuned and attentive to my wives. So I guess he's saying, I pointed out things that Mary would like and love here, and you interpreted it as me loving and being in touch with my wives. But the reality is, I was trying to test myself to see if I was in love. Because isn't that all how we test ourselves to see if we're in love? We just tell other people what that person likes. I think it's a standardized test. I'm sure of it. I think this was one of those tests that Kody never took, and maybe somebody filled it out for him. Because what are we talking about here? How are you testing yourself? He goes on, and the fact of the matter is that I was reacting to a bad emotional state.
There was something wrong a long time ago, and you thought it was that I was so attuned and attentive to my wives. And the fact of the matter is that I was reacting to a bad emotional state.
Enough jibber jabber.
So his behavior in pointing things out that Mary liked and loved was his reaction to a bad emotional state. So he was trying to test to see if he was in love. So at this point, he's saying, I don't know if I was in love or in a bad emotional state. So I'm trying to test myself out and see by telling my new wife, here are things my other wife would like. It makes perfectly good sense.
Huh?
Make it make sense. Make it make sense. It makes no sense.
So I'm confused.
And the fact of the matter is that I was reacting to a bad emotional state and I thought it was love. So he justifies, he comes down and says it again. I was in a bad emotional state, but I thought that was love. A bad emotional state he confused with love.
That's just impossible.
Even the most warped mind would not get these two things confused.
And I thought it was love.
This is all just making up lies to try to support his narrative that he never loved the wives so that his ego doesn't get any more bruised with the fact they all left him. So after that last line, and I thought it was love, Robin said, see? Like she's so proud of herself. And Kody says, so I'm just as guilty. Just as guilty as who? Who were we talking about was guilty before? We never established anybody being guilty.
She, there's the truth.
So I'm just as guilty.
So I'm just as guilty. Doesn't make sense.
Okay.
But we'll go on anyway. And she said, guilty of, and he said, thinking that I was in love and trying to work all that mess out. And Robin says, okay, so when you say that was just a performance and it was just an act, Kody said, I was trying to do what the right thing was.
Thinking that I was in love and trying to work all that mess out.
Okay, so when you say I was just a performance, it was just an act.
I was trying to do what the right thing was,
But
Robin.
you thought it was love.
And I thought it was the right thing.
And she said, but you thought it was love. He said, and I thought it was the right thing. So he's thinking, well, I don't know if I thought it was love. He's trying to figure out how he used it and if he can keep going with the way, because he's trying to say, I wasn't in love. And she said, but you thought it was love. Which he did say, basically. Or he was at least trying to test to see if it was love. And Kody said, I thought it was the right thing. So he wouldn't agree to her it was love. And Robin says, right. But you felt and thought it was love.
Right, but you felt and thought it was love.
Right, Kody? You thought it was love. Right, Kody? And Kody says, yeah. Kind of just like that. Yeah. I don't know what just happened here. And Robin says, okay.
My work here is done.
I think he was just like sitting there going, what just happened? I don't know. I have no idea what I just agreed to.
I was trying to do what the right thing was,
But
Robin.
you thought it was love.
And I thought it was the right thing.
Right, but you felt and thought it was love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Robin's very proud of herself.
Please don't stop now.
Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.